Hey everybody, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening. So, what I wanted to show you today is I got in a set of Chicago cutlery knives, and I've refurbished many of these. And a lot of times people like me to redo the handles because after a long time, the handles can start to get a little nasty. Now, what's the downside? Well, the downside is if you try and sand these with sandpaper, your sandpaper inevitably, after a few seconds, starts to look just like this. So the finish just sticks to your sandpaper. So you see where this is down here, you can see some of that finish on here. I'm going to take this little, just this little clean corner and show you. I usually sand these with a electric sander, but I'm going to show you how quickly it gums up. I mean, it just immediately starts to gum up and stick to, and this is just by hand, okay? But do you see, like, it's all that junk, it just sticks right to your sandpaper, and your sandpaper basically becomes useless. So I don't sand right away anymore. What I do first is I use an 80 grit radial disc abrasive, and these are not the expensive ones. These are the inexpensive ones that I get on Amazon. There's a link in my store to them. They only cost about 14 bucks for a big set. You can also get just the 80 grits, which are actually my most favorite. It is these green ones, and I only use them for really like kind of rough stuff. But I want to show you how quickly. So see all this gunk, and especially under these areas and up in here and in here can be the hardest areas to clean out. Let me show you how fast this works. I mean, you see that? It's gone. And it doesn't stick to the radial disc. Every time I try and use sandpaper and things like that, it sticks to it. I mean, even if I'm using regular, my regular sanders, like my 1x30s, it sticks to that. I end up having to use my eraser all the time, and I'll show you what it can kind of look like on here. So you kind of get this stuck on your belt because it will stick to it. And the radial disc is just absolutely the way to go. These are awesome also if you don't have these. Let me show you how great these erasers are, and you will get a lot more mileage out of your belts if you use these, because they clean all the junk off. And all you gotta do is kind of rub it up against there, and it just pulls all that garbage out of your belt. Seeing now it's nice and clean again, and you can do this quite a bit and keep getting use out of your belts. But like I said, if you got to get old varnish, old shellac, whatever it is that's on there, even if it's old linseed oils or anything, a lot of times that stuff gets sticky. The very best method I have found that will save you a ton of time, that doesn't remove too much stuff. I'll show you a little bit more here. Here's a couple more areas right up here. All right, can you guys see that? There's a couple spots here, there. Let me just show you real quick how quick this goes. And it doesn't remove too much material, and that's why I always love radial disc abrasive. And you can see I'm going against the grain. And it's just gone. Like, all that muck that would stick to that sandpaper is just completely gone. Look how great that looks. Now, if you want to go with over sandpaper at the end, that's great too. You can do that, and that's usually what I do. I'll take a little bit of 220 and kind of maybe go over all this. Sometimes I'll use 400, but I usually find 220 is plenty for knife handles, and then I will retreat these with whatever method I'm going to use for that particular knife. And that's it. So I just wanted to share that with you. This is my favorite method for getting all this junk and old finishes off of the knife handles without going through a ton of sandpaper. Save your sandpaper for the very end. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Alexander Knife Sharpening. So let me show you where to find those items. I've made some changes to my website. I will soon be taking down my for sharpeners section and recommended products section because Amazon's giving me a really cool Amazon page to recommend those products. So I haven't been able to move everything over there yet, but for this particular video, I did make a section. So if you come over to my Amazon page and click the link on my website, you can scroll down and you'll see there is now a polishing items I use a lot, like radial discs and jewelry, blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. Click it and it's going to take you to here is all the things nicely laid out for polishing. And if you go down to the bottom, you're going to see here are the green radial discs I'm talking about. You'll see there's a couple different suppliers here. I have found no difference in them, so it doesn't matter. The only ones that there's a difference in, you'll see some of these are 3M and Dededco. I've shown this before in other videos. The 3M and Dededco are the high-end ones. I use those for knife finishes and polishing of a higher caliber. So if I'm doing restoration work or really trying to make a knife look nice, that's when I use these things, and mostly the 3M Dededco Sunbursts in the 3-inch size that need these mandrels right here to put them on a jewelry buffer. Now, unfortunately, at the moment, they seem to be out of them. A couple people have been writing me. Hopefully, they get those back in soon. But for those of you that are just going to use it on a Dremel tool, the 2-inch 6-ply are fantastic. I like those a lot. They also make a 3-ply. I don't like the 3-plies as much, but the 6-ply are really great if they have the 6-ply. Here are the mandrels, and the reason I have these pictured is you will see that the Dededco mandrels are very, very expensive. Don't buy them from them. Buy them from this link here. It's $11 to get 6 of them. Now, you'll go back and you'll see I have some screws right next to it. The reason is you have to replace this screw that's inside here. You won't be able to fit the 2-inch 3-ply or 6-ply on here with this original screw. It was made for something smaller. All you have to do, take it out, put these screws in, and you'll be good to go. And then you won't have to worry about it not fitting. Then you could put it on Fordham tool, you could put it on a Dremel, and you'll be good. So it just keeps jumping around on me. Sorry about that. So let's go back here. So the things I mentioned in this video, I do use these little sanding pads a lot. I really like these. I like to cut my own 2-inch ones out for my Milwaukee buffer sometimes because they're a lot cheaper. So I do that. I love Tormac paste. That's in here. I use all of these. The Dededco are great, but for this video that we just did, basically all you need are these green ones. Now, I'm sure someone's going to ask, well, Paul, couldn't I use the whole set like this one here with the other grits to completely finish the handle? Yeah, you could do it. I actually like to use sandpaper. I find it's just a little bit more even if I use my little Milwaukee sander to finish with. But yeah, you could do that too. You know, if you buy a set like this, you're going to have 200, 600, 3,000 grit, and I think all the way up to 1,400 or 14,000 grit. Let's see here. Maybe not in this set. Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. It has the green. The greens are usually 14,000. So, you know, you could do it that way too. I basically use these green ones for removing rust. I've shown that in other videos, cleaning up garden tools, and also for removing finishes off of knife handles. But when I go to do the final sanding, I usually use regular sandpaper. I have also used my good Didedco disc too. That works really well too. But I typically just use either 250 grit or sometimes 400 grit sandpaper. Okay, everybody. So I wanted to point out one more thing to you back on that Amazon page, because it is goes well with today's topic of refinishing wood handles. I recently tested out a new product called varnish oil from Tried and True. And well, it's actually a new size, not a new product, but I always wanted to try varnish oil, so this was really a cool opportunity, because they now make it in an 8-ounce size. It used to have to buy it in like a gallon. It was always big, giant like bucket containers of it. And they're now making a smaller size on a couple of their products. So you'll see here, I have their Danish oil listed, which I really like. And I really like this varnish oil for knife handles. So I also listed other things here that I really like as far as finishes go, and all things that I've used. So I've used Furniture Clinic boiled linseed oil. That's great. I've used Linsheen before. That's a good one. Down here is one of my favorite of all times, which is Odie's oil and Odie's wax. These are absolutely amazing, but as you can see, they have a really amazingly high price tag, but they are awesome finishes. I love Odie's oil for the cutting boards that I'm laser engraving. And I also like to follow it up with an Odie's wax. I also use Odie's wax on my slate engravings that I do that need to be food safe. So on things like slate charcuterie boards, I'm using Odie's wax. Another favorite of mine is tung oil. Tung oil is also a fantastic finish for knife handles. So these are like my favorites, all right here in one spot. So I just wanted to point that out to you, and that's it. And all right, so I'm going to end this video. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, final note on a few more things. I know some of you have been waiting for that rusty knife refurbish video. I ran into some issues with the sound, so I'm probably going to have to voice over a bunch of it. So I do have it all shot, but unfortunately, I got a new iPhone, and the microphone I tried was absolutely horrible, so I'm going to have to just do a voiceover for the video. So that's the hold up on that one. Sorry about that. I forget, but that's basically, I did want to give you that because I do know some of you are waiting to see that rusty knife refurbish job. All right, talk to y'all later. Bye.